Despite the assurance given to the public by the Olubadan Council that there is no controversy over the selection of the new Olubadan of Ibadanland, all may not be well with the installation of a new traditional ruler for Ibadanland in Oyo State, southwest Nigeria. The 44th Olubadan of Ibadanland, the late Oba Saliu Adetunji Aje Ogunguniso I, died on Sunday at the age of 93, leaving a vacuum on the Ibadan throne and questions as to who will succeed him. However, barely 24 hours after his demise, an Ibadan-based lawyer and former Attorney General of Oyo State, Michael F. Lano, wrote a letter to Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde warning him of a traditional aberration and illegality that may occur in the attempts to install a new Olubadan. In the letter, Lano reminded the governor of an existing lawsuit instituted by Oba Balogun against his predecessor in office, the late Ajibola Ajimobi. According to the former Attorney General, Ajimobi had conferred the title of Obaship on some high chiefs and bales without thinking of the legal effects of the action on the future of the Ibadan traditional institution. Now joining us to discuss the death of the 44th Olubadan of Ibadanland and the controversy already brewing over the selection of his successor is BOLAJI Ayorinde, a senior advocate of Nigeria and indigene of Agbokojo, Ibadan. Welcome to the morning show, Mr. Ayorinde, and good morning.
Chief, actually. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning. Tundu,
Good morning, Chief.
Victoria Abiola. Good morning. And my good friend Rufai Oseni. Good morning.
Good morning, Chief.
Good morning, Chief, and Happy New Year to you. First, we commiserate with the people of...
Happy New Year to you.
Yes, thank you. We commiserate with the people of Ibadanland through you on the passing of the 41st Olubadan of Ibadanland, Aje Ogunguniso I, Oba Adetunji. But very quickly, before we begin to talk about the succession and the politics and the controversy that has been pointed out, what kind of man was he? What will you say were the high moments of his reign? And, what will you describe as a legacy of the 41st Olubadan of Ibadanland, who has now joined the ancestors?
Thank you very much. First of all will agree with me that he was a very peaceful man. You would see that the Ibadan Olubadanship is only conferred on persons who have been through the ladder for a period of nothing less than 30 to 35 years. And in that period, they will have imbibed, all the necessary qualities of leadership. This he brought to the throne when he was installed in 2016. And as an accomplished businessman who had retired from active business, who was now only involved in community work and issues, he came with a wealth of experience to the throne. He was a very peaceful man, a very loving grandfather to all, and his reign was very, very peaceful. So I think he will be remembered for his peaceful nature, for his warmness to all and sundry. You know Ibadan is a metropolis consisting not only of Ibadan indigenes, but of people from all parts of the country. And everybody found his reign to be very peaceful. It was always a voice of calmness and a voice of reason.
Well, he'll be sorely missed. May his soul rest in perfect peace. What is your take, sir, on what's being described as a controversy because the Otun Olubadan should assume the throne of the Olubadan? But now there's a contention that because he has been made an Oba by the past governor of Oyo State, the late Senator Ajimobi, that's not possible. What's your take on that?
Well, if you look at the letter by my very good friend, Michael Lano, the former Attorney General of Oyo State, first of all, he did not indicate that he was acting on behalf of any aggrieved client. And so I will consider the letter I've read it, it's all over the social media, as an opinion which he has expressed, and he's very free to express such an opinion. But if you read the letter itself, the letter states very clearly that the case in issue was settled by way of consent judgment at the Court of Appeal, where the crowning, the appointments, the elevation of certain high chiefs and baales to the position of Obaship was nullified. And when something is nullified, it's as if it never happened. So really and truly, even if there is a case in court challenging the nullification, that case has not been heard to a conclusion. So as it is, whatever has happened in the past is a nullity as far as the law is concerned. So really and truly, there shouldn't be any controversy at this point.
All right. I know Ibadan is very Republican, and it was a garrison town of Ibadan, where a lot of the warriors, settled after various fights and conquests. How does this feed into how the Olubadan is made? And, what culminates into making sort of like an Ashikpa, an Otun, or Osi, and the likes? And why is it that in the meeting, that announced that Kola Balogun was going to be the new Olubadan, we didn't see the Osi, which was former Governor Lamidi Adewoluladoja, present there. Rashidi Ladoja, yes. Present there.
Yes. Well, I read somewhere, somebody said that surely the next Olubadan will be a former senator. The person did not mention who that would be. But I cannot speak and say the reasons why someone was not at a meeting or the other. But, they are all revered elder chiefs. They are senior chiefs. They know how they communicate. Why he was not at the meeting, I'm sure they would have reverted to him as to their decision. And mind you, when they came out of that meeting, they did not mention any name as to succession. What they said was clearly that the tradition, the culture, the established customary mode of succession will be followed. And that is in order. That is in order.
What is that mode of succession? I hear it starts from the Mogajis, family heads, then they become high chiefs. Can you just tell us, some Ibadan rich history?
Well, you see, the succession, the succession procedure of the title of Olubadan is one that is highly commendable. It is, and it is the envy of many parts of the world. And you see, to become an Olubadan, you first of all emerge as the Mogaji of your family. These Mogajes can be up to about 3,000 in number. And gradually, from being Mogaji, you can now prove yourself through merits, through your contributions to the society. You can now become either you join the Olubadan or the Balogun lines towards being an Olubadan, and you climb up the ladder. The ladder has like about 23 to 24 steps, which you climb gradually according to any vacancy that occurs on your line. We have the Olubadan line, we have the Balogun line. The Balogun line traditionally was for the warriors, the generals, when they came back from war. The Olubadan were the persons who stayed in the town as administrators. And in order not to have any rancor, the minds of the city decided that we rotate or alternate between both lines. So if we take somebody from the Olubadan line, then the next will be the Balogun line, and it has worked very well. It has worked very well. Some people see a disadvantage in the sense that before you can become Olubadan, you will have been very well advanced in age, and that maybe there's a clamor for a younger monarch, but majority still prefer that system. By the time you become one of the first 5, or before you get to become Olubadan, you will have been very well advanced in age, you will have gone through the ladder, you would understand the customs, you will be a calming voice, and you will be accepted by all.
Well, we need to go on a short break. I wanted to ask you another question as a follow-up to what you have said, but let's take that break, Chief Ayorinde, and then we'll be right back, and the program will continue. Stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is still BOLAJI Ayorinde, SAN, and an indigene of Agbokojo, Ibadan. Thank you for staying with us, Chief Ayorinde. Very quickly, I mean, you've explained the succession plan from the Balogun line and the Olubadan line. But when you refer to Michael Lano earlier on, you said he was just expressing an opinion. Is that a diplomatic way of saying that his letter to the governor of your state is a busybody action? Are you in any way questioning his locus in the matter? But I would like us to interrogate some of the points that he made in that his letter. He said that, look, the Court of Appeal dismissed the legality, the legitimacy of the appointment of certain high chiefs as coronet obas, and that was a settled matter. Later, there was a consent judgment whereby it was agreed that, that was the position of the law. But then some of those high chiefs who have become coronet obas went on appeal. And those appeals are still pending. And one of them that is cited is that of Senator Oba Balogun versus the governor of Oyo State. And he says, his argument is this, that look, if that case and others are still in court, then it means that the matter is being contested. And he gave 2 suggestions. One, either those cases are withdrawn to settle the matter and establish the nullification of the original duress in the matter. Now, or the matter should be allowed to the court to exhaust the process and give judgment one way or the other. And he referred to the Olubadan chieftaincy law of 1957. And he said that under that customary law, an Oba cannot become an Oba in another jurisdiction. These were some of the issues that he raised. So I would like you to help interrogate those issues. He raised the issues, he proffered solutions. So, but I don't know whether this is considered in your view as a busybody intervention.
Dr. Abati, amongst other things, you are also a lawyer, so you wear many caps. So, I mean, you would be the first to agree with me that a case in court does not have the force of a decision until a decision is made. The extant position as of today is that the elevation, the crowning of those 21 chiefs and bales by the Ajimobi administration is as if it never happened. Once it was nullified, then that puts an end to it. So in the eyes of the law, it becomes a non-event. It never took place in the eyes of the law. So that cannot be an issue. Now, if they go back to court to challenge that nullification, that case is still pending. And like my good friend Lano suggested, that if at this point, anybody that is part of that case looks at it and sees that events have overtaken whatever agitation that they have, then there's nothing wrong in withdrawing the case. There's nothing wrong in everybody accepting the status quo. So I see the point that he's making in his opinion. Like I said, it is an opinion. What is important to the people of Ibadan is that there should be peace should reign, fairness and justice to everybody like we've always done. We are, like my friend Rufai noted, we are very Republican in nature. We do not like people's rights to be trampled upon, to be taken away. So it's something that in the next few days you will see developments that will satisfy everybody.
I actually wanted to ask you about the timeline because the predecessor of the immediate past Olubadan, Oba Adetunji, his predecessor, Oba Odulade, when he passed on, incidentally also in January at the age of 101, the ripe old age of 101, then his successor was crowned Olubadan 2 months later. Is this something that we're going to see a resolution to quite quickly?
Once the process has begun, then they will go through the steps, the approach to the government, the government, acceptance of the recommendation of the Olubadan Council, and all these are administrative procedures. Like I said, every Olubadan has been a potential Olubadan for the past 35 years. So it's not, it's slightly different from other towns and other cultures where somebody is brought in, chosen by the oracle, and the person has to go into seclusion, and they have to take the person through the rudiments of being king and all that. Every potential Olubadan has been a king, in quotes, for quite some time. So what really remains is the administrative procedure in the final ceremony. But really and truly, I don't believe it should take very long.
So according to the Ibadan tradition and customs, they call the Ibadan people Agbokuyo.
Agbotikuyo.
What it means invariably is that you hear the death of somebody or the king, and you know you're almost next in line, and you start to celebrate. And a lot of people say that heralds the process, of crowning the new Olubadan, because we saw drums and celebrations in the home of the Otun already, while the home of the king that passed recently, the Olubadan, they had mourning there. Yes. So does that mean the process has started in earnest? And does it mean that once the governor is back, I understand he's not in the country, Governor Seyi Makinde, that all the administrative paperwork will be done, I'll be able to have a new Olubadan?
Yes, thank you, Rufai. You see, we have the good fortune that most of our Olubadans are usually very advanced in age before they pass on. Even though we mourn them, we feel for them, nobody is happy when anybody really dies, no matter how old the person. We all have aged relatives. No matter how old they are, you still want to have them around you. But when the time comes and they are advanced in age, even when we mourn at with the family of the deceased, we also thank God and celebrate with them that the Olubadan lived a very full life. At the same time, the incoming, who is known to everybody, the celebration that you see in the next household is really not celebrating the death of another, but thanking God that their father, their head of family, who is now to become Olubadan, lived to see the day. So that's basically it. It is not celebrating the death of another, but celebrating the reality of an ascension.
Well, Chief Ayorinde, when we look back, let's look back now. In Ibadan, as you pointed out, the succession plan is always peaceful because everybody knows where they stay within the, if you like, the Ibadan chain of being in terms of the hierarchy. But that process was disrupted by the constituted authority of Senator Ajimobi in his position as governor. When you look back now, although the court has decided, but as an Ibadan person, how disruptive did you think that move by Senator Abiola Ajimobi was?
Well, you can see that part of the fallout of what happened then is the little issue that has arisen, as pointed out by my friend Lano in his letter. It's obviously a fallout from that, I would say, wrongful intervention into the traditional structure of Obaship in Ibadan. And like you also said, you know, even though it was wrongful, it was nullified, the fallouts is what we are experiencing now. But the institution is very strong. The institution is back. The institution will take care of those bits and pieces that appear to have come out of place. And again, what it really shows is that the people's culture, the people's tradition should not be lightly interrupted or interfered with by the government of the day, because these are very strong institutions. And unless a customary practice is repugnant to natural law and justice, and this is by no means repugnant, right? You know, the laws of the land, the government should not intervene. Let the people have it the way they've structured, the way it has worked for them, in the case of Ibadan for over 200 years, and let things be, you know. So that's what I would say to that.
Well, we have seen, just across the country, we've seen an emir deposed and banished in Nigeria. We've seen first-class paramount rulers in another state recently being read the riot act by the governor and their throne threatened. What do you think should be done to address this? Do you think we need some kind of legislation or constitutional provisions?
I am an advocate of having some form of recognition within our laws, our constitution, for the work that traditional rulers do. Because they are not democratically elected in the sense of a general election and all that, but they do still have significant roles to play, you know, particularly with regards to local, the affairs in their locality. And if we are to spend considerable time discussing this on national and international TV, then it behooves on us to look again at the kind of security that they have in their existence, in the performance of their roles. So I think, and we used to really have that in the pre- and independence Constitution and I think the 1963 Constitution recognized the House of Chiefs and all that. So I think you've made a very good point there. You know, it is not really in the best interest of the people for a governor to lambast and deal with traditional rulers as he so pleases. You know, so I think there should be some form of protection for them.
So by projections and by the succession plan, whoever becomes the next Olubadan of Ibadan and the person after him will be people of influence, a lot of influence, and they've had political power and influence at some point in the past. How do you think that will shape the position of the Olubadan of Ibadan?
Well, once you become the Olubadan, you become a father of all. You are not expected to be partisan. You are not expected to abuse your revered position. And like I said, because in the Ibadan tradition and customary practice, because an Olubadan, even though when he began the journey, may have had political alliances, allegiance. I mean, the late Oba Odulano was a minister in the First Republic. We've had Oba Akibiyi, who was also a minister. You know, these were people who, over the years, played partisan roles in politicking. But you will see that the moment they become like the Otun Balogun or the Otun Olubadan and they are inching near the throne, you know, they drop all that. And it has always happened. They drop all that. So I do not see how an Olubadan will emerge and it will have political alliances. It will be fair to all.
Well, Chief Ayorinde, let me take you back to the point you were making about a role for traditional rulers in the governance process. Well, that will require, of course, you know, constitutional amendments and all of that. And the 1999 Constitution is one of the major issues before Nigerians at the moment. What other issues do you think are of urgent importance that we need to look at in that 1999 Constitution, which remains a source of contention at many levels?
Yes. In addition to a role for traditional rulers, I have also severally, at different times, and whenever I have the opportunity, to also advocate the inclusion of what we loosely call residents' associations in the structure of governance in this country. There's no part of Nigeria, there's no area that you do not have a residents' association where they meet once a month. And you find out that these resident associations, they look after so many aspects of the residents of their area, be it security, be it you know, the environmental aspects of their areas. And that's one area where it should be established and plugged into the local government system. And you rarely find any resident association whereby a chairman or a secretary is accused of embezzling money. Everybody knows his house. You know, they meet on Saturdays, they donate money, and they agree on what they want to do with the money. So those are, you know, governance can be very simple. If the moment we complicate issues and have structures that have no direct accountability to the people, then it becomes a problem. So these are, and the same thing with the traditional rulers, they are local. They are, people relate to them. So we need to tinker seriously with the local government administration, not as it is at the moment, there's a cry that, oh yes, they're not being given their funds, they're not being given their dues, but we really need to reform the local government system so that it is relevant to the people that it's supposed to serve. I think that is one area in that constitution that needs to be really, really looked after. We spend too much energy and time on the federal structure, on the powers of the state government, the constituting units, federalism, but the area that really needs tinkering with is the local government and how it fits into resident associations and directly impacting on the people. So that's my take on that, Doctor.
Well, thank you very much, Chief Ayorinde SAN, for joining us on the morning show. Thank you very much indeed.